I'm going to take us to the third choice.
Okay.
The third critical choice I made was to build trust. And first off, I didn't trust myself at all. I mean, there was
Right.
no idea of what trusting myself and my actions meant. So I couldn't actually figure out how to inspire the trust of anyone else until I first figured out how to build trust in myself.
Right.
For me, the journey I went on around building trust is I learned that if I did the little things great, great things can happen.
Right.
So that I still keep with me to this day. I want to dive into trust, and I want to dive into trust both from the aspect of you building trust within yourself
Uh-huh.
and then inspiring the trust of others. And I might like switch, and I'd like to hear how people inspire your trust. But
Okay.
let's start with you building trust in yourself. Has there been a time that you've needed to build more trust in yourself?
It's so interesting because those who know me well, which is quite a few people,
Mhm.
actually know that I'm actually a ball of anxiety, and there's a million little things every day that I don't trust about myself. Yet, when it comes to big life decisions and big life choices, 9 times out of 10, I've got a pretty strong internal compass for myself. Doesn't mean it's the decision for other people, but when things have happened in my life, typically I just kind of trust myself to guide me to where I need to go. So, on that note, I can tell you on a personal level, there
Yeah.
was one really big time that I wasn't completely confident that my internal compass was in the right direction. And I think this will get to the trust of others as well.
Yeah.
I can't share too many details because I want to protect the privacy. But I had a very close individual of mine, a loved one, who went through a period of time where they were struggling mentally. And I remember at the time when things kind of came to a head, so to speak, I was traveling. So I was actually on a flight that had been diverted and had landed. And I knew this person was struggling when I took off. They knew I was in flight. But this flight got diverted. And so I'm still sitting on the plane because we're trying to, captain's trying to figure out
All
where
the
we're going.
things.
And so, of course, I call this person. And in that moment, this person made it very clear that the situation was dire. And I distinctly remember, I was pretty upset and saying, look, let me get off this plane and I'm going to catch another plane and come back. And I will never forget this person making it very clear, please don't do that. The last thing I want to do is interrupt, what's going on with you. I Please trust that I will be okay until you get back.
Hmm.
And in that, and I listened and I followed through. And I can tell you that evening in talking to my husband, it was pretty awful because I kept questioning, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
And even some of my work colleagues were in supporting me, completely supporting me, but were saying, oh my gosh, this is more important than work. You should be, back home. And it wasn't that I thought that work was more important. It was that at that moment, I knew that I was the one person this person was going to. And what I kept thinking is if I breach the trust of this individual and I show up on their doorstep, are they going to view it as I told you that I would be okay until you got back? And yet you didn't believe me. So now you're not going to be somebody that I'm going to contact the next time I'm in that state, right? So
Mhm.
I had to rely on my trust of that person and show them that I trusted them in order to kind of stay the course. And as it turned out, made the right decision, if there
Yeah.
is such a thing as a right decision. But that's the time I think of that as far as a very big life decision where for me, it wasn't as easy as, well, for me, I can feel it. This is the way I need to go. I was very like, oh, am I doing the right thing here for this person?
And
So
you chose to not risk breaching their trust in you
yes, yes,
and putting so much of your trust in that that is the right decision for this situation.
Yes.
It's a pretty astounding story. And I thank you for sharing it with me.
Yeah, of course.
With us.
Of course. Of course.
How do people inspire your trust?
It's interesting. I think always communication. I think, again,
and go more about communication, the type of communication.
I think transparent, open, and honest communication, right? And that's how I've always functioned, again, as an individual. Again, back to personal. How many times I recount with my children, who again are grown-ups now, the stories of, oh, remember when you were 2 and I did this and I apologized and said I wasn't a good mommy this morning, right? But as a leader, same thing. I make mistakes. Often. All of us as individuals make mistakes, right? And I think it's making sure that you're creating an environment for individuals to know that, again, in order for me to help them develop an area of opportunity, they need to trust that they can come to me and be very open and honest about their areas of opportunity without, again, repercussion, without judgment. So we can navigate it together. So I think, again, transparent communication. Yeah.
One last question, and I will move us to the 4th critical choice. One more thing in the trust category. Is there a little thing that you do consistently that either has helped you build trust or just overall helps your enduring success? Is there a little thing that you do great consistently?
I don't know if it has to do with trust. And this is some of my anxiety too. So this is like a therapy session for a minute.
Love it.
But one of the things that I do, and it's very over the top, but I try to put dates in my calendar. So whether it be, someone's birthday, obviously, or anniversary, or whether it be, a trauma that somebody experienced, a loss that they had in their family, I'll tend to put things like that in my calendar so that when that day comes around, I can send that person 2 hearts, or I can just simply take a moment to say, I'm thinking about you, I'm here. And again, for some people, they want that and some people don't, especially if it comes to like loss, right? Some people don't want to be reminded, right? And so, and I wasn't going to share this, but on that note, as a matter of fact, there's someone I worked with at Jenny Craig. I'm not going to say her name, but again, we're very good friends. We've known each other forever. And just this year, maybe a month and a half or so ago, I texted her the, little 2 hearts. And it was the anniversary of her father's passing. And what I loved is she texted me back and basically said, hey, you know how much I love you. You're amazing. You are go out of your way to think about others. But she basically said, please don't be offended. But I sometimes don't even realize it's the day. And when you reach out, but what I love, Trish, is that she was comfortable telling me that.
Yes.
And I try to tell my friends, I'm like, I don't know how to navigate this for you. I want to be the person that you need me to be, but I know loss is different for everybody. So, help me help you, right? If it's too much, tell me. If it's not enough, tell me. If it's, what does it need to look like for you? So I actually loved that. And it was just funny because I said, removing it from my calendar now. And I love you for telling me, done, right?
Done.
Because it's not about me, it's about that person.
Yes. It also very much goes towards your inner compass, which is to connect at a human level with those that are around you. Those are my words. Those aren't your words, but like a connector from whether that's emotional or, whatever it is, like you're so in tuned to the individual that you are interacting with. And I think that is a gift. It's a skill. And it would be amazing if more people had it.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you for joining me for our Choose and Become interview series. You could find this episode and others at trishkendall.com. Just go to trishkendall.com/choose-become-interview-series. Or if you have a question or just want to leave a comment, email me, trish@trishkendall.com.